What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Authentically D. All right, guys. So hopefully you've been enjoying this so far. Tonight, I'm not so concerned about aesthetics, or visuals, or any of that. It's just kind of one of those things where I am dedicated to being consistent, and this is a day that I said I would record, and I have something to say, and so boom. Got my stuff set up and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Being authentically you. This is one of my probably more passionate topics because it's very I need a pop filter. Y'all hear all that popping? Pop pop pop. Sorry in advance. It is one of my more passionate topics because it's personal to me. And let me turn this down. All that popping. Hopefully that'll be better. Okay. And so, like, this is the entire name of my whole podcast, Authentically D. So obviously it's something that's pretty near and dear to my heart. So yeah, let's talk about that. I kind of wish I had somebody with me to kind of bounce off, but I'm going to do my best in getting out what is on my heart, and hopefully it activates something in you today to truly just be who you are, authentically and without any regrets. All right, let's get into it. So it takes major courage, in my opinion, to be you. I know that sounds weird. Excuse me. I know that sounds a little weird. It's like, it takes courage to be me? What? How does it take courage to be me? Clearly it does, but we don't realize it. So I want you to ask yourself a question. Who are you? Who am I? Who are you? Like, sit with that thought. Who are you? And some things will probably come to surface. Like, initially, you'll probably think about, your career, or you being associated with, your religion, or just these aspects may come to the surface. But I want you to think about it at your core, outside of all of these influences. When you strip yourself to the very core, without the external influences, who are you? And I was left with that question. It's something that sent me on a personal journey of discovery, self-discovery. And it was a wild ride. It opened up so much in me to really and truly get to the core of who I was. But that in turn brought about a lot of challenges for me to face as I tried to maneuver through this journey of now knowing who I am at my core. At some point, we put on these layers of masks. Okay, for some people, it's layers, right? We put on these masks, and I believe that these masks were either voluntarily put on by us or involuntarily put on by us. And so the ways that they were voluntarily put on by us is, for example, let's say you saw how others were acting around you, and you decided in your mind that, okay, well, this is how I need to act. This is how I need to be. So you made a conscious decision to put on this mask, one layer, And now this is a new representation of who you are. So that's an example of voluntarily. You saw, these external influences or these people, and you saw them be in a certain way, and you decided to adapt to that, to their norm as your normal. And so now you have on this layer of a mask. But also we put on masks involuntarily. And the way that happens, in my opinion, is through things like our culture, our upbringing, our families. They basically molded and shaped us into who we are. And that required a level of us putting on some kind of cover, okay? Because it might not have been who you truly were at your core, but this is how you were, molded and shaped. But it was an kind of an involuntary thing that just was bound to happen, right? For me personally, I definitely had layers of masks. Primarily, I think in 3 categories. So in childhood, there was a layer of a mask. There was the religious mask after I got older. And then there was the career mask. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the childhood mask first. So for me, I got bullied a lot in school. Like me and my brother, we got bullied a lot. And so not only that, but we didn't have the best of the best. We didn't have the worst of the worst, but we definitely didn't have like the top things, the name brands, the this, the that, all of that stuff. We had the hand-me-downs and things like that. So for me, the mask, that layer of a mask came on at a very young age, because I made up in my mind that I was not going to be bullied. I was not going to be this person who got picked on. I wasn't going to be this person without money. So what did I do? I decided as soon as I could, went out, got a job, boom, was able to go buy my own stuff, my own name brands, all of this, all of that. And boom, you're not going to be able to tell me nothing. Now I'm putting on this mask and I'm going to hide all of my vulnerabilities. Nobody's going to see me weak. Nobody's going to see me broke. Nobody's going to see any of that because I now have this ability to do for myself. And so that's also where I believe my a part of my independence came from as well. Not saying that that's a bad thing, but it definitely had its pros and cons based on the things that I went through as a child. So there's that childhood layer, okay? Then as I grew up, of course I grew up in a very strict religious household. However, I didn't necessarily have to put on a mask during childhood in the religious sense, but it more so came once I got older. Okay, so once I got older, gave my life to Christ, whatever. Now I'm required to put on this mask of being, Christ-like, being, religious, having it together. I remember when I first got saved, and I'm doing air quotes, but anyways, first got saved, I literally got in my car, threw out all of my CDs that were secular R&B. I threw them out the window. I was like, no more of this. I am instantly set free from secular music. I stopped cursing like right away, instantly. Everything just boom, bam. I am changed. I'm a changed person. I was different towards my friends. Like, oh my gosh, I remember it was my freshman year. freshman year or sophomore year of college. Anyways, it was after spring break, and I came back to school after spring break, and I let all my friends know like I'm safe. It's funny now, but anyways, I'm safe now, and I can't really, do anything that they do. And, of course, they looking at me like, girl, you think you too good, blah, 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 blah. My roommate, she was so supportive. Shantae, you're the best. She was so supportive of my journey. And, but yeah, at that moment, I put on a mask. And people call it, no, you transform. No, God changed your life. Okay. All right. We'll say, whatever. In my opinion, that's when the mask came on. So now I am suppressing who I really am, not realizing that's what I'm doing, because I'm striving to, make this change, because I have this goal to, now live a life, that's pleasing to God. So yeah. And I went to the extreme. So that's the thing about me. It's really no in the middle. I don't do like a whole lot of gray. Like if I say I'm something, if I'm committed to something, that's what I'm going to be. If I'm no longer committed to that thing, then I'm no longer committed. So yeah, I was hardcore, following all the rules, doing what I'm supposed to do as this Christian, but the mask was there. I didn't realize it was a mask, but that was a mask. Because deep down, I was just opposite of that person. But I had it so suppressed that I really kind of fooled myself into believing that, no, this is who I am. I'm this new person now. And yeah, I'm never returning to doing any of those things that I was doing, before that. So that was the religious mask. Then as I got older, so now I'm in my early 20s, comes the career mask. I became a real estate agent at a very young age, 23. I was super proud of myself. One of the youngest. Am I recording? Okay, I'm recording. The youngest in the class at the time to have a real estate license. And so I'm in the class with all these old heads, big wigs. They, got all this experience doing other things. And here I am, 23 years old, sitting in the class getting my real estate license. And so a part of me had like this imposter syndrome after I got licensed. Didn't really feel like I deserved it. Although I knew my stuff. Like I was very proud of, what I learned, the things I learned, scored excellent on the test, things like that. But during that time, you would barely find a young Black female real estate agent. Like it was missing. I did not see it. I just did not see it. Especially when I decided to branch out on my own and start my own firm. Literally, I didn't have really an example to look up to. In fact, I ended up being a trailblazer for other young Black realtors who, decided to get licensed, decided to start their own firms, But during that process, I put on a mask. And this was a pretty big mask, because a part of me, of course, was trying to fit in with what I saw, which was white, corporate, the women, with the long hair. They acted a certain way when it came to selling homes. And I was like so opposite of all of that. So opposite. But I was afraid to show who I really was. So I pretty much turned into a robot. Like I turned into the typical female. And I had this imposter syndrome. I was trying to be like them. I was trying to talk like them, look like them. I hated it when I would get asked, "How long have you been selling homes?" Like, you ain't asked the the chick over there who just got a license. I've actually been in the business 3 years, 3-4 years now. She just got a license, but you ain't asking her because of her race. But you're asking me because I'm and young. So it was obvious. It was mad obvious. So even though I had all these ideas, it's a long story, guys. Sorry. All right, I'm going somewhere. Even though I had all of these innovative ideas, all this creativity regarding the ways that I could like blow my business up, I was so scared to be me. So that was a mask. Until later on, I decided to, have a real heart to heart with myself regarding my career and who I was as a person. And I realized that people were actually embracing the human side of me and not necessarily the pretend side of me, the one that I created so that I can fit in with everybody else. So that was kind of how I let go of that career mask. All right, and end of story. But guys, here is my point, or here is the realization that I came to. We literally only have one life to live. And the thought of going through life, not being able to be yourself, it hurt. It scared me and it hurt me. I don't know what happened, but just knowing or thinking to myself that, wow, I am going to live my entire life being what people want me to be in my career, in my religion, and this is stifling. This is very stifling to me, and I don't know what to do. So that was the pivotal moment for me. Again, it started with changes with my career. I decided to just be my authentic self there. That's when I started, rebranding myself, doing like a lot of content, video content when content wasn't even out then. Video content wasn't out then about real estate. And like I had all these ideas for funny but educational, videos, and like my business blew up because I decided to be me. Like all before, I wasn't really making money. I was just doing a bare minimum because I was trying to be like somebody else. But I had clientele literally waiting on me to show up as me so that they could relate and, decide, gosh, I really like her. I want to work with her. So that was when the career mask fell off. And later on, I had to deal with the childhood mask, like letting that go, like understanding why I was so, kind of hardcore in some areas, why I feared, vulnerability, why I feared certain things. And just dealing with that helped me release that childhood mask. But then came the big one. And this is the one I never thought I would ever have to deal with or release. And that was the mask of religion. Y'all ready? Let's go. Okay. I went on, and if you've seen my other episode, you already know this story, but I went on a spiritual journey, a seeking journey of seeking truth. And this journey lasted about a year and a half. And you can go watch the episode to get the context of that. But on that journey, I realized that I could no longer ascribe to a religion. I no longer fit in any religion. I want to be careful with my words here. I found out who I was outside of religion. I'll just say that. But that meant that I was going to have to now take off the final mask. And that scared the living crap out of me. So, I knew it meant me being who I was to people who only knew me to be a certain way. And that caused a lot of fear. Because there was the fear of loss. Like, these people, they've been in my life, for this amount of time. They've known me for this. They've known me for that. And now I'm all of a sudden making this drastic, and I mean drastic change. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. So contemplated, okay, how am I going to say something, or am I just going to just suppress it? Like, what am I going to do? But the more I tried to suppress who I was becoming, the more it stifled me, the more it hurt me. And so in my mind, I was thinking, there's no way I can continue on pretending that I still ascribe to these things, that I still fit in this box. There's no way I can do that and be happy. I would be miserable. I would literally be walking around here miserable in my life if I had to pretend that I still ascribed to religion. Okay. So I made a decision. I knew that meant, and I literally had a game plan. I told, me and my brother were talking about it, and he was just like, "Are you gonna tell? You're not gonna tell, mom and dad, are you?" I was like, "I have to, Junior. I have to. I cannot. This is not something I can hide, because I plan to, one, be vocal about it, not in a bad way, but I have to express myself. I've always had a platform, and I'm going to use that platform to the best of my ability, no matter what it is that I believe. And two, I don't want to go through life pretending that I'm something I'm not." And so he was just like, "Ooh, girl," like basically saying good luck. But so anyways, went through the process of getting a therapist, because I knew I was going to need one to navigate through that process and get some tools and guidance on how to just, be able to have the courage to let that information out publicly. And so I did that, and then I made a decision to go ahead and tell my parents. Told them one at a time. And I'll put this in you'll hear the entire story in the other episode. But so I'll fast forward. So at first, when it really hit them, because it didn't hit them at first, they thought I was saying one thing, but it ain't really hit them. But when it hit them, it hit my mom hard. And so she took it bad. And I ain't gonna lie, it made me feel bad. And so I'm struggling over here like I'm feeling all these feelings, like anger, I'm feeling, guilt, I'm feeling all these feelings. But then I had to go back to that question like, okay, so what is the alternative? I choose to say, okay, I go along with what you're telling me to believe so that you can be happy. And then it made me think again about my feelings. And so what I realized is that my feelings matter so much. My feelings are a priority in my life. And once I decided that I value my feelings, like I had to do some self-talk. I had to, you know, just kind of talk to myself and say, like, I get it. They're entitled to feel what they feel, but at the end of the day, um I am going to choose me, and um my feelings matter, and whatever process they have to go through to accept me and accept that, then that's what they have to go through. But I'm not going to allow anything that they say or do to change the way I truly feel or make me put back on this mask. I refuse to put back on this mask. Like that, I was so gung-ho on not picking back up that mask. Nope, I laid it down. I'm not picking it back up. Nothing you can say can make me pick it back up unless I choose to, believe, you know, believe certain things. So, uh, after a few days or whatever, my mom called me and we had a conversation or whatever. And she was like, what I was really calling you for is I want you to know that, no matter what you do, no matter what you go through in life, no matter what decisions you make, I am always going to love you. Y'all, I sat on the phone and started crying like, like the ugly cry. The ugly cry. And I was like, Mom, I needed to hear that so much. Like, you don't understand. I don't want to be unloved. Like, I've never experienced not being loved by my parents. So the thought of even like, oh my gosh, like to know people go through that. Oh, that hurts. And so just the thought of thinking that, wow, I can lose the love of my parents because I don't believe what they believe anymore, that it messed me up. But when she said it, it's like she knew she needed to tell me that. And so something broke in her and she came to a place of acceptance, and they both accept, they don't agree, of course, and that's fine. I don't need them to agree. Like, and I was explaining to both of them, I don't want y'all to agree if y'all don't agree. I don't need you to agree. I just need you to accept me and love me. And so that's what they did. And I love them so much. Hopefully they don't be listening to these episodes. But anywho, yeah, so it took courage. It took a lot of courage. I'm not even gonna lie. But I decided to make my feelings number one priority. So I'm gonna ask you a question, and the question is simple. And I guess it's pretty much the same question that I asked before. So who are you? What do you enjoy? Who are you at your core? What will being you look like? And are you going to be courageous enough to take the steps to become authentically you? It is the best feeling ever. I am not inhibited by anything. It is freeing, it is liberating, and it took a lot of courage. So I want to activate the courage that is on the inside of you. And I want to speak to that place inside of you. I want to speak to that fear, that thing that is causing you to keep on these layers of masks because you fear what's on the other side of that. And I want to speak to that. And I want to just say it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it to remove the mask. It's going to be worth it to find out who you are authentically at your core. It's going to be worth it regardless of who believes in you, agrees with you, condones. It is going to be worth it. So I hope that you find the courage to just be yourself authentically, unapologetically, and live your life, because you literally only get one. Something just popped in my head while I was talking. And this is very controversial, but I don't care. I was thinking about people in the LGBTQ. Sorry, y'all, I'm messing this up. No offense. LGBTQ, and it's a couple other letters, I think. Community. And I think I was on TikTok one day, and because I used to ask myself, like, okay, if this is accepted now, like if people can get married, if it's okay now, why don't I ever see people like out in public? Why don't I see people like, I don't ever see people having PDA? Like, why don't I ever see it? It's accepted now. And then I was on TikTok, saw this older couple. Oh my gosh, it broke my heart. Saw this older couple like holding hands and like showing this PDA, whatever, just affectionate towards each other. And they were like, we can finally do this, publicly without the scrutiny of, others, and blah, 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 blah. And I was just blown away. Like, wait a minute. You telling me all these years you had to hide who you were? It hit me like a ton of bricks, y'all, because this is real. People, and now I'm just referring to that specific community, they are literally hiding who they are. They are literally having to suppress who they are because of bullies. And yes, I said bullies in society and religious settings, telling them that they cannot be who they are. But they're trying to tell you, this is who I am. But you're trying to tell them, you cannot be this. And the other thing, I think it was like an epiphany. Mind you, I have plenty of friends in the LGBTQ community. So whatever. And they're the best. Okay. So mind you, now these people are saying they love someone, okay? Not that they hate someone, but you telling me we're hating people because they choose to love someone? We're hating the people, the sin, yeah, because you hate the sin, you love the person, whatever. You're hating the fact that they're choosing to love. Not that they're choosing to hate, but they're choosing to love. And that is sinful because they love. Y'all, think about that for a second. And I know it's controversial, but think about it. Think about what I'm saying. You're so upset at a person because they're choosing to love. They're not choosing to hate the person. They're choosing to love the person. But that is wrong. It is very wrong for you to love the person. I don't know. Something seems a little wrong with that. But anyways. But okay, back to the point, Lordy. Like, I don't know if I was put in those scenarios where I, was forced to meet certain people so that I can get rid of the judgmental attitude that I had. And I know it was only because of, what I was taught to, believe about it or whatever. And you could believe what you want to believe. I'm not saying that you have to agree with it or anything like that. I'm just saying I know why I was so judgmental. But the more I met people, the more I, was put in certain arenas, environments, or whatever, or just had to come in contact, had to work with people. And I'm just like, wow, a lot of these people are hurting because they're literally having to fight to be who they are every single day. You get to go on with your life normal. Nobody's making you not be something. Nobody's making you not be who you are. But y'all, that I don't know, that hit me like a ton of bricks. So it's a lot of bullying, it's a lot of depression, it's a lot of suicide happening in that community, and we doing it in the name of Jesus. I ain't ready for that. I ain't ready for that topic. Let me get back on to the focal point. The focal point is, what is being you going to look like, and are you going to have the courage to be authentic? Figure out, I'll give you a little game plan. Figure out the steps that it's going to take for you to decide to be authentic and to do it publicly. You're going to have to write this stuff down. For me, my game plan was, I knew I was going to need a therapist, because this just wasn't something I could, do on my own. I knew that I was going to have at least one person in my corner who would have my back regardless of the things that I, decided to do. Thankfully, it ended up being more than one person. It's like 3 people. Y'all get y'all some real friends. Get you some real friends and real family who gonna stick beside you no matter what. What else? Therapist, close couple of people. What else did I have to do? Decide that no matter what, my feelings were more important, and I was gonna live my life, because the alternative was to be suppressed, was to be somebody that I'm not, and live a miserable life pleasing others. And that is something I just will not be doing in this big old 2022 at 36 years old. No ma'am, no sir. All right, guys, I hope I've activated something in you, or I hope you could at least relate to this in some way. Let me know or not, because I don't know if I can handle these comments. I probably won't read them, but I probably won't read them. I just put this out here to put it out here. It's for who is for who. I put this content out here. It's for who it's for. Who it's not for, it's not for you. So just keep scrolling. All right, guys. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Where your podcast at? Let me know how I can support you, and listen to what it is that you have to say. All right, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care.